CPA more valuable than CA? No, I don't think that's the case. But I don't think it's vice versa either. I think the question is wrong. CPA, CA both have more or less you can consider equal value. Of course, CA in India is much more, there's much more acceptability and there is also signing authority which only CA has. So in that context, CA is having a clear advantage. CPA, not only is it a global qualification, but you learn a lot about US accounting, US taxation, wherein you can not only work in India, but a lot of US companies have their subsidiaries here, or you can, like I know people who move to Canada, move to US just because of their US CPA. So step one is both have different USPs. When you start, when you complete this qualification, your starting package, your starting entry into the real world is also more or less the same. So I think, no, you should consider both of them as equal and you decide basis other factors. Like, do you want to work in a specific Indian tax domain? Or do you want to work in another country? Or do you want to study where the course is shorter versus the course is longer? Those are the factors that can help you rather than worrying about which one is more valuable. Earning capacity is a very common Indian student question. The starting point for both is similar. A fresher CPA with no experience can start between 6 to 10 lakhs depending on which company, how was the interview, how has he performed. A fresher CA, well, most likely CA already has their articleship on their site. Yet a CA can start anywhere again between 6 to 10 lakhs. A ranker CA can go up to 10 to 12 lakhs as their first main job as well. But these are both entry points, right? What I want you all to think about is what happens in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, because before you know it, you're going to be there. And that time it depends on your performance, not on your starting salary. So again, decide what qualification you want by trying to think long-term or by asking people around what seems to be a better future. Doesn't matter what your starting salary is because you will have to any which ways step up and perform. That's how your salary will actually grow over a period of time. CPA after CA, the time is the same. Look, whether you do CPA immediately after graduation, you can finish the entire studies of these, there are 4 subjects as you might know. You can finish it in 1 year. Same thing, if you're a CA also you can complete it in 1 year. But yes, because you're a CA, if you've completed CA, you obviously have a much higher understanding, your basics, which are the same in Indian CA or CPA, that you can grasp much faster. So maybe instead of a year, you can probably even aim ambitiously at completing all the 4 subjects in 6 months, in half the time. So that's the max flexibility you can think of. CPA worth it is yes. See, over the last 10, maybe close to 12 years, there's been this explosion of alternate CA qualifications that have value in India. So as you all know, right, like I had studied ACCA. When I studied it, it was barely known, and today there are lakhs of students doing it, right? And that's in such a short span. Same thing for other qualifications like CMA US. And of course, the same thing applies to CPA US. Plus, it's a US-based call. It's a CA of US. US is such a superpower that if you do anything with a US tag in it, that's why people do MBA so much from the US, because you want that US tag. So if you're a CPA of US, there are a lot of companies where the US companies have actually set up subsidiaries in India specifically from a finance and accounting optimization perspective. Without getting into the technicalities, CPA in India, whether you want to work for American companies, whether you want to work for Indian companies, like these Reliance kind of companies also have their subsidiaries in the US. So they need people who understand US accounting. Or you want to get into your, you want to get into your industry, like you want to work in a company, or you can work in any company and head their finance operations. Because again, a CPA understands how to look at finance, accounting, and business. You can start your own company. There are just a ton of things you can do because CPA has actually garnered a lot of attention. You go to any company and you ask them, do you know CA? Yes. Do you know about CPA? 90% is going to say yes. CPA, CA, which is easier, I will have to say CPA. And when I say it's easier, it is because of the structure and the vastness of CA being much more. CPA is not easy. It is just relatively less difficult. So if you spend 1 year studying CPA thoroughly, you can clear it. CA, you'll have to spend 4-5 years studying. That's the primary reason why I would say CPA is less difficult, not easy.